friends, welcome back to my kitchen. Welcome if you're new. I'm Cheryl, this is Table Full of Joy. And friends, we've got a storm brewing here in the Northwest. It's coming in from the coast. Not looking forward to this. We're supposed to have high winds here, 40 to 60 miles an hour. And so we're gonna hunker down tonight and let the storm blow by. It's gonna have a lot of rain behind it and a lot of heavy wind. So I'm making a comforting soup tonight. It's one of my favorites, and we're putting a Christmas twist on this soup. It's a very classic Olive Garden type soup. One of my absolute favorites. It is Zuppa Toscana soup. I love it. And what I do to it a little bit different, I add a little bit of red bell pepper to this when I saute all my onions and stuff, because with the red and the green from the kale, it makes it Christmas. We do this at Christmas time a lot of times when we've got Christmas Eve is more of a casual kind of night for us and our family. Usually it's just time for people to come and go as they want to. People show up anytime between, like 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. It's just whenever they get there. So we love to have big pots of soup going either in the crock pot or on the stove, little things out for people to make little sandwiches, either already made sandwiches or they can make their own, whatever they want to do, some chips and some veggies. We did a cute veggie tray a little while ago in a live video. If you missed that, I'll leave a link in the description box for that. I'm cooking some chicken back there for my dogs. But I'll leave a link in the description box for that cute little turkey veggie tray that we did. It's absolutely adorable, and you'll want to make this with your family. We put one of those out. It just makes it super easy for people to come in whenever they have time, pop in, visit, hang out, have something to eat, and just spend some quality time together. So let's get started on this soup. It is really easy. It's delicious, and I love this little twist that my grandmother has done on Zuppa Toscana soup. My aunt, I had an aunt by marriage who was from Sicily. And this was a soup that she used to make all the time. She shared the recipe with my grandmother. It's a very basic recipe. Everybody makes it, I think, pretty much the same, except my grandmother and my aunt put the red bell pepper in it to give it that little bit of a Christmas twist. So I've got my sausage right here. We're gonna get it in the pan, get it cooking. We're gonna put in our onions. I've got my onions and some red bell pepper already chopped up in my chopper. I love this thing, friends. If you don't have one of these, I highly recommend one. I will leave a link in the description box as well as a link for you guys or a discount code for you guys to pick one up from Full Star. These things are incredible. I use this thing in my kitchen all the time. So friends, let's get this soup started because that storm is coming. All right, so I'm just using some mild Italian sausage. I just grabbed what I had in my freezer. I actually watched somebody on a YouTube channel make this last night, and I told my husband, I'm like, we have not had that in forever. And it sounds so good, and it's always a huge hit around Christmas time around here. So I grabbed out my sausage. I grabbed some kale from the store this morning, and we're gonna make this delicious Zuppa Toscana soup my grandma's way. Actually, my grandmother and my aunt. My dad's mom, her brother married a little Italian lady from Sicily during the war. They were quite a bit apart in age. This is back in the, in the 40s when it was acceptable, and this was, wasn't a big thing. She was 14 or 15 and he was 26, and he married Enos and brought her back to the States with him. When he came home from the war, brought Enos back with him, and they were married for, gosh, almost 70 years. I mean, they were married for a really, really long time. Howard passed away just a few years ago, and my aunt just passed away not long ago. And so I was so thankful that I did get to spend time with her as well as my grandmother in the kitchen and learn some of her favorite recipes from Sicily, from her family. She was the youngest of the girls. There were 12 girls, I think it was, in her family, and they all were fantastic cooks. And I just loved hearing all of the stories that Enos used to tell us about her coming to this country and being, of not having the things that she was used to. So I've got my meat chopper. Our sausage is still just a tiny bit frozen, but it's gonna be okay. It's gonna thaw as we get it chopped up in this pot. Get our sausage done, and then we are gonna put our peppers and our onions in here. We're gonna add in some fresh garlic, and we're gonna let this kind of cook down just a little bit, let those onions get nice and soft. And then we're gonna add in our chicken broth and some potatoes, and we're gonna let that cook for probably a good 20 to 30 minutes till those potatoes are nice and tender. And then we get to do the last couple parts, which is our kale and our heavy cream and some seasonings. And friends, it's gonna be delicious. I can't wait to have this tonight. We have some leftover rolls from dinner on Sunday that our sweet friend from church brought. So we're gonna have those tonight with this. And it's just gonna be a comforting and cozy dinner. We can sit back and watch it rain. I made these pumpkin twists on the live. And so as I said earlier, I'll leave a link in the description box for that live video if you guys wanna go check out what we did in that. But we're gonna get the sausage cooked up and we'll come back and put our veggies in. All right, we've got our meat cooked. Looks like it's all nice and brown. There isn't a whole lot of fat in here, so I'm okay with that. I've got my onions and my red bell pepper here. I'm only doing about a half an onion. We're gonna stir these in until the onions start to get a little bit tender. And then I'm gonna put in some fresh garlic. I'm gonna put in a little bit of this Italian seasoning. So we wanna get lots of flavor in here. And I'm gonna put in a little bit of this caramelized onion butter. That was not traditional, but I'm kind of making this my own. Still doing what my grandmother did and my aunt, but adding some flavors that I like. But I love that little bit of red in this soup, even though it's not traditional in a Zuppa Toscana soup. It really makes it that red and green for Christmas. And let's face it, a little extra veggie never hurt. We've got 3 cloves of garlic. We're gonna put all 3 of these in here. So we want lots and lots of good flavor in this soup. I love garlic. We are big garlic fans in this house. Got our garlic in here. Let's cook our garlic for about 30 seconds, just until we smell it getting fragrant. I have some homemade chicken broth that I store in the freezer. I just pop this in the microwave for a second. And I'm just gonna put this in here. And I'm gonna add just a little bit of water to this, but that broth is gonna melt in here. It's gonna be delicious. All right, I'm gonna add in, let's see. And we're gonna add 2 cups of water. We're just gonna let that, I want my broth to completely melt into this pot of soup before I add my potatoes. So that's gonna give it probably a good 15 minutes or so. We're just gonna put a lid on this and let that broth melt. All right, friends, we've let this sit here. Our broth is fully thawed out now in our soup. This smells so good. I cut up 4 russet potatoes, and I think I might put just a tad bit more water in here because I want this soup to be just a little bit thinner than what it's got a lot of stuff in it. So I think I'm going to add just a tiny bit of water, like maybe add another half cup. I'm just going to use my chopper base, because why dirty up more dishes? All right, this smells so good, friends. It is just starting to rain here, and this soup is going to be exactly what we need tonight. So it's gonna sit here and simmer for about 20 minutes. Right, friends, our soup is almost done. We need to finish it up with our kale. This recipe calls for bacon. Typically bacon is put in Zuppa Toscana soup. Most people are going to cook it when they cook their sausage, and I don't like bacon cooked that way. I think it comes out real chewy, and I'm not a big fan of that. So I cook my bacon in the oven on a sheet pan, and then I take it out, drain it on some paper towel, and I'm gonna dice this up and I'm gonna mix it into the soup just before we serve it. So let's get our kale prepped up and ready for the pot. We're gonna put that in there. We're gonna add our heavy cream to it, and I don't add flour to my soup. I don't think it needs it because I don't go super heavy on the broth. So we're just gonna add our heavy cream when we add our kale. We're gonna let it sit on the stove for about another 10 minutes or so, and then it's gonna be ready, friends. So if you're not familiar with kale, kale has this rib down the back, and we don't want that. That is a very hard thing to eat. Nobody wants to chew through that. So I just strip that little piece out of there and just take my fingers and pull my kale off and get that whole thing off. The other thing, I don't like kale in this soup if it is super big chunks. I like my kale to be pretty finely chopped up. So I'm gonna spend a couple of minutes getting this kale nicely chopped up so that it's just gonna kind of blend right into my soup. You're still gonna see the kale, but I don't wanna be chewing on a big piece of kale. And this is another way that if you chop it up fine, people that are not huge fans of kale will actually still enjoy this soup because it's not, you know, big, huge pieces. So I'm gonna cut them down the middle, and then I'm gonna basically shave it. And I'm gonna do really small shavings of this. I should put a towel underneath this cutting board. So it may look like a ton of kale, but it's really not, because it's really gonna wilt down quite a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in my soup. The rest of our kale, we're gonna get that put in here. We're gonna get this stirred around. I absolutely love this soup. And you see why I'm not adding any flour to this. If you went super crazy with your broth and you had a lot of broth in this, then I would say, you know, put some flour in it to thicken it up a little bit, but I'm okay with this. I have a little bit of heavy cream left in this one. I'm gonna polish this one off, and then I'll add a little bit more from the new container. And like I said, you wanna just put your lid back on, and you wanna let this just sit here on the stove on a really low heat and let that kale get nice and wilted. And while that's doing that, we're gonna get our Parmesan cheese and our bacon ready to go. This just smells so incredible. I think that's enough. So we're gonna let this wilt down, and then I'm gonna taste it for seasoning. I did not put any salt in this because we use that Italian sausage, and that usually has quite a bit of salt. So we're gonna check it for seasoning once we get our bacon and stuff in there. We'll double check our seasonings, and then we're gonna dish this up. All right, I've got my bacon here and my Parmesan cheese, and we're gonna go ahead and put that in here. We're gonna do a little bit more parm on the top of our soup, but we're gonna get this mixed in. See, I love the red in this. It just really speaks Christmas to me. Let's give our broth a taste, because our cheese and our bacon is gonna add quite a bit of salt. Oh, see friends, we don't need to add anything. All of those things that we put in here, this is fantastic. I'm gonna let this sit here a little bit longer. I wanna get that cheese melted in here. I wanna get that kale finished wilting down, and this is gonna be delicious. All right, friends, we are gonna dish up our soup. Grab my ladle. My bread just came out of the oven. Look at that, friends. I have a little bit of bacon that I chopped up. We're just gonna do a little bit of a garnish on top, a little bit of cheese. And friends, that is our Zuppa Toscana soup. We'll see you at the table. All right, friends, we got our soup, we got our bread. These are just leftover rolls we had left over from Sunday from our lunch with our friends after church. We're gonna pray and we're gonna give this a taste. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this food. We ask you to bless it to our bodies. We just ask you to give us a restful evening. Ask these things in your name. Amen. Amen. All right. Hubby's gonna taste it.
Very good.
Perfect night for soup. It's chilly outside, windy.
Got lots of bacon in it.
Does have a lot of bacon, a lot of sausage. That is so good. I was just telling hubby, I think this is the best Zuppa Toscana soup I've ever made. It's really, really delicious. So thank you guys so much for joining me in our kitchen as we made a delicious soup tonight to kind of get us through the storm that's coming in. We're excited to eat this tonight and have leftovers for tomorrow when hubby gets home. Of course, he has his jalapeno. And so, friends, it means so much to me that you guys take time out of your day to come and spend time with me in my kitchen, see what I'm doing. If you guys have not yet, please hit that subscribe button up there. I would love to have you part of our YouTube family. As you know, we are going for 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so I'd love it if you guys help me get that goal, help me reach that. So share my channel with your friends and family. Hit that notification bell so you're notified when we upload. We have so many more fun recipes coming today. As I said earlier, I'll leave a link in the description box for the live video we did today where we did a really cute turkey veggie tray. We did the pumpkin twist, and we did the acorn peanut butter cookies. Those are super fun. Hubby's been snacking on those, and he likes those. So
very tasty.
So friends, we will talk to you guys in the comments. Have a great day, and God bless.